Okay, friends, so this is the last video lecture on the topic of middle childhood. In the previous lecture, I was talking about self and specifically self-efficacy and learned helplessness. Now I want to move to the topic of the importance of friendships and the different stages of friendships. This is significant in middle childhood because, well, for lots of reasons, but one is this is a period where children are creating their own relationships and that the peer group is becoming increasingly important. And we will see that throughout the rest of the life course, especially in the next chapter when we talk about adolescence. But peer groups at this point are beginning to influence a child or a person's sense of self, their own self identity. Discussed in this chapter is Bigelow's three stages of childhood friendships, which moves from he calls, or what they call, a cost reward kind of model, that we define a friendship based on that this is somebody that we play the same games together at preschool or at recess, to the next stage is normative expectations. So a friend is somebody who is nice, or a friend is somebody who shares. And then the third stage of childhood friendships are friendships that are based on, or relationships that are based on intimacy, understanding, and intimate information. And they suggest that this is likely between the ages of, say, 8 and 15, and that if friendships end during this period, it's because they have violated some sort of loyalty or some sort of loyalty or expectation. And I thought that was so interesting because it immediately reminded me of my childhood and my friendships, and my daughters too, that's exactly what friendships were based on, is they were based on sharing information, and that you broke up with a friend when they told your secrets, or when you couldn't count on them to keep your secrets, or maybe they didn't invite you to a party when the loyalty was broken, not because of any shared activities. All right, and then the last slide introduces this idea of a sociometric assessment. So child researchers have created this way of describing or calculating popularity amongst children. And so what they do is, I'm pulling out my textbook here to make sure I got this right. So, and this is what they call the sociometric assessment. And they ask children to name, I think it is there, they ask them to name three people that they like. I believe it is three people that they like, and then three people that they don't like. And then from this, they're able to create a metric. They're able to create a metric and identify the popular children are the children that get put in the like category a lot. The rejected children, and I'm pretty sure I will actually make this into a quiz. So the rejected children, are the ones that they say give more unfavorable votes than favorable ones. The controversial children are the ones that are in both categories, so they get a lot of likes and a lot of not likes. The neglected children are the ones that don't get mentioned at all. Then you move into the average, and the average get a few positive votes, but very few negative votes. So they're more liked than not liked, but they're only liked a little. Then you have the popular, make sure I got this right, the popular pro-social. They're nice and have good social skills. The popular anti-social children, these are the ones that are popular, but not because they're nice, maybe because, what's it say? They gain popularity by acting tough. Then you have the rejected and the withdrawn children, and these are the children, it says, they're shy and withdrawn and they're easy targets for bullying. And then you have the rejected children who are aggressive, and these are the ostracized children because they're aggressive. And these are this assessment then is based on based on collecting the information from other children and sort of looking for these patterns. Also discussed in this chapter, logically, is the discussion of bullying. And we're going to define bullying, make sure I got my notes on that one too, as unwanted aggressive behavior. And there are different kinds of bullying, as you probably know. You've got the verbal bullying, saying mean things, the social, which is sort of, I think it's the social and then the relational are often the same. And this is where we exclude people or we tell stories about them, we start rumors about them. The physical is obviously, the physical harming, and then we add a new one to this, and that is the cyberbullying. And this is where we post untrue things or mean things or harass people using the internet or using social media and the technology. What's interesting about the discussion of bullying, though, is where it describes who the most likely bully is, contrary to maybe popular understanding is it is not necessarily the children with with low self-esteem. In fact, a bully may actually have quite high self-esteem, but they have little regard for other people. So they use their self-esteem as a way to hurt other people. And then the other is high self-esteem but low empathy towards others. And then there's also a little bit of a discussion about the children that are likely to be bullied and how very often or how sometimes the adults don't necessarily notice, they don't catch. And so it lists, or your textbook offers some things to look for, changes in eating habits, changing in sleeping habits, children not wanting to go to school or not wanting to socialize with people. There are some other items in this chapter that I have elected to not include, partly because I didn't think that they were relevant they are relevant. There's a discussion about the family and a discussion about divorce during middle childhood, but I opted to sort of stick with the more specific elements of child development instead of go down into the sociology of family. So this is going to wrap up the chapter on middle childhood. We only have one topic left, and that is adolescence, and I'll pick that up in the next module. Thank you for listening.